Welcome to Navajo County Connection. I'm Dawnafe Whitesinger, County Supervisor for District 5, and today we'll be talking a little bit about what we should be doing to be safe while we're going out and recreating over the summer. Many of us will have our kids out of school, and it's almost the best season here on the mountain, and being able to go out fishing and hiking. So today we have some great visitors who will be talking to us about how do we be safe out there, and what are some of those things that we can be doing to go out and enjoy our beautiful mountain. So today we're going to start with Diane Tilton. She's from Game and Fish, and I'll give you a chance to introduce yourself.
My name is Diane Tilton. I'm with Arizona Game and Fish Department, and I'm the Information and Education Program Manager up here for the Pine Top region. Started out as a game warden down in Tucson about 8 years ago, and then moved up here about almost 2 years ago.
Great. Yeah. Well, welcome to our mountain.
Thank you.
Some of the things that we're interested in is, I guess, what's going on with Game and Fish, and what are some of the things that you're working on?
Well, the summer is really our busy time up here. So, one thing we like to make sure that everybody knows about Arizona Game and Fish is we're a self-funded agency. So we don't get state tax dollars. We get our money from mostly people who are hunting and angling. So we really appreciate all those people who are buying their hunting and fishing licenses. It allows us to manage about 800 species of wildlife in the state of Arizona. So we get money so when people buy their hunting and fishing licenses and their hunting tags, and also we get federal match money that comes from excise taxes built into hunting and fishing equipment.
That's great to know.
Yeah.
That's kind of the background, I guess, of understanding how do you maintain the services that you offer.
Right.
So what are some of the things that you do?
So at Arizona Game and Fish, so we manage all the species of wildlife in the state. My job in information education is putting on outreach events, getting people excited about wildlife, educating them, talking to them about things about like bears and bear safety, off-highway vehicle safety, and also getting the word out. Like we've got some exciting stuff coming up with a brand new species of fish new to Arizona. So that's the tiger trout that was stocked in May. So that's really exciting to have a new species of fish to go catch in Arizona.
Oh yeah, that is great. So how do people learn more information about, say, if they want to go fishing for the new tiger fish? What would they do? So our website is really comprehensive, so that's always the best place to start. We'd love people to stop into our office. We have an office on the kind of learning my directions in town. I would call it the east side, or maybe the southeast side of town. We have a regional office there. We'd love people to come in. They can always talk to us Monday through Friday about where to go fishing, what to do. We have maps that we can show them. And we usually have people in the office, biologists, that can help them out as well. Yeah, we've stopped there a couple times, my family and I, and always had great information to share. Yeah, and there's lots of neat critters up on the wall. Yeah, to take a look at. We've seen those as well. And we actually have some ponds there now that we've just spent the last couple years working on. There's a wetland in the front, and then we have 2 ponds farther down in the wetland. We'll be getting some animals soon. And then the fish ponds, we used to be a hatchery, so we'll have maybe some fish in there, or we can use it if there's a fire. Like in Oak Creek, when there was a fire, was that last year or the year before, we had some fish in there. We had to emergency move out to save them, so we could use it as kind of a refuge, yeah. So people can always stop by and take a look at those. That's great. So when we're talking about summer and summer safety, what are some of the things that we should be concerned about? Well, things you need to take into consideration when you head out is just to know what you're going to do. Make sure you have plenty of water with you. If you're going to be on a boat, we want to make sure that everyone's safe. You won't need to have a life jacket. There needs to be a properly fitted life jacket for everybody on board your boat. Kids 12 and under have to have them on at all times, and they have to be properly fitted. So this would be a little bit small for both of us, but this is going to fit, a younger child. I said they have to have it on at all times, and it has to fit and be in good working order. I've actually, when I was a game warden, I found a kid one time in an adult one, and it was duct taped to him. Like duct taped on to make it fit, and that didn't work. Yeah. So want to make sure that it fits properly. Like I said, there has to be one for everybody on board. Okay. Yeah. And then the helmets? Yeah, so for off-highway vehicles, that's become a really popular sport. And you have to have a helmet on if you're under 18 years old. When we ride at work, we wear ours all the time.
But for adults, normally you get to decide whether you wear it, but there are quite a few fatalities every year in Arizona, so we like to see everybody wearing it. And I don't know if you can see on the back here, it says DOT, that's a Department of Transportation sticker on the back. It has to have that on it to be legal for the kids, so no bike helmets. It has to be a DOT approved helmet.
Okay.
And that's in or on, so even in side-by-sides, like UTVs, like Razors, things like that, they have to have a helmet on.
And outside of, I guess, when we're going fishing, to think about wearing our life jackets, and when we're going to ride our ATVs, to think about our helmets. I know we were talking about our homes, and what are some of the things that we should be thinking about if we're living on the mountain?
Well, right now it's definitely bear season. We're getting quite a few bear calls, and they tend to be the most kind of early on. We really want people to take some accountability for their homes. So that's making sure that you don't have trash out. Trash does not go out until the morning that it's picked up. Bears love trash, and when they learn to eat trash, they're going to keep eating that. So we really need to push that. Also bird food, that's one of their favorite things. Suet or seeds, hummingbird feed. So one of our officers calls it hummingbird food because they'll just take it off and just drink it right out of that. So that needs to be in your backyard where it's secured, or bring it down at night when the birds aren't out anyway. And again, really explaining to people that trash can't go out too soon. We have very strict bear policy with Arizona Game and Fish Department. So if there's a bear that keeps coming into a neighborhood and we go out and we trap that bear, if it's an adult male bear, we will euthanize that bear. He will be lethally removed. If it's an adult female or a juvenile male, if we don't think if there wasn't an imminent danger to it, we'll move them once and it'll get an ear tag. And if it comes back, we will euthanize it at that point. And we don't like to do that, but it's a safety issue, and these bears will keep coming back. And we'll move them pretty far, and they'll come back in like a week.
Yeah, we had a little conversation about that, and you know, I had asked what would be the distance, what would the distance be to remove a bear?
And said, you know, when I first got here, we had a female and a cub, and they had moved her a week before, and she came back to the exact same neighborhood, and there were still bird feed out, and she was eating that, and we had to euthanize her. And then we had a cub, you know, and luckily Arizona was able to take it, but that's not always the case. And bears don't relocate very well because they come back. And also, if you put a bear into somebody else, another bear's habitat, that bear that already has that area will sometimes kill it. So it's not really the best thing for any animals to be relocated. It's pretty tough for them.
Yeah, and I know with that particular bear, we were talking about a distance of 60 miles,
right,
which is quite a distance.
And that's pretty far to go in a week with a cub.
Yeah.
So, and you know, that goes for when you're camping too, not just when you're at home, that you have to make sure that you're having a good camp. You don't have food left out at night. You know, coolers, if you don't have a trailer, are secured in a vehicle, not just in the back of a truck, because they can also get into that. And we usually have problems like at Big Lake, because we have so many people coming up to camp that might not be used to being in bear country.
That's very true. Well, Diane, we're going to wrap up here in a second, and I know that you have some events that you would like to share.
We do. We do a lot of things for the community. So in July, we're having a free fishing clinic at Full Hollow Lake along with the city of Show Low. That'll be July, let me look at my dates here. That is July 16th. And that'll be from 8 a.m. to noon. We'll have fishing equipment. You don't need a fishing license to attend. July 30th, we do our Hummingbird Festival every year. It's always the last Saturday in July. It's over at Sipe Wildlife Area, so in Round Valley. It's one of the largest birding festivals in the state. It's 8 to noon. We have somebody come in and banding hummingbirds, and we have various booths and talks.
Wow.
And we do some summer wildlife series, so we'll do classes on Saturdays during the week. So if anyone's interested, we have a great Facebook page that has all of our events on it. It's Arizona Game and Fish Department Pine Top, or they can stop by the office and we have flyers for all of our events.
Great. Well, we're so happy that you joined us today, Diane.
Thanks for having me.
And if any of you have questions for Game and Fish, please go take some time to go out and visit them, or either give them a call and find out what's going on or how you can be safe. And we are going to close this session. Are there any last comments, Diane?
Nope. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. We appreciate it. And we'll be back in just a second. Welcome back. Our next segment, we are lucky to have individuals from the Apache Sitgreaves Forest with us today, and we have Jeremy Human and Jerry Thompson. And we'll start with Jerry. And Jerry, can you just give us an introduction about yourself and maybe how you got into the Forest Service?
Yes, my name is Jerry Thompson. I work at the Black Mesa Ranger District in Overgard, Arizona. I started with the Forest Service in 2007 and did a little time on different functions, fire, recreation. I'm in fire prevention now. Spent some time on hand crews and engines, and like I said, now I'm in fire prevention. So.
Well, it's great to meet you, Jerry.
Yes,
thank you for
likewise.
joining us. Jeremy?
Hey, good morning. My name's Jeremy Human. I've been with the Forest Service for 26 years and started down in the valley, but been up on the mountain for quite a while. I've worked on the Apache Sitgreaves for 3 or 4 years now. I work out of the Springerville Supervisor's office. I'm the Forest Fuels Chief here on the forest, and like Jerry, had similar experiences. I've been in fire my entire career, done some winter stuff in rec and trails maintenance, things like that, wilderness management. But for the most part, my career has been centered around fire management and worked on different modules to get to where I'm at now. So.
Well, great. Well, welcome, gentlemen. And I certainly know a little bit about your background, as my husband has worked for the Forest Service for many, many years, and I'm grateful for the services that you offer our community.
Thank you.
So we'll talk a little bit about recreation in our community. What are some of the things that the Forest Service, I guess, encourages or in talking to community members about recreation?
Okay. Yeah, you know, we've got a lot of opportunities obviously on the mountain, and great time. You know, it's a little early yet, but things are starting to finally warm up a little bit. Maybe the wind will quit blowing here eventually, and you know, great time to be in the woods. So a lot of great opportunities right now as far as fishing starting to heat up. So you got the Rim Lakes area over on Black Mesa, and of course Big Lake, and some of those fisheries over on the Apache side of the forest and in the heart of the White Mountains, so to speak, I guess. And anyways, a lot of opportunities there, you know, mountain biking, hiking, wildlife viewing, it's all there. And really the Apache Sitgreaves has whatever you're looking for as far as opportunities. If you want a very developed campground with, you know, a place for your RV, we've got opportunities for that. If you want to kind of be out on your own, not necessarily in a campground, but still have decent roads to get to for either your tent or your RV. We can, we've got areas, you know, between Show Low and Heber along the rim that facilitate that really well. And then if you're in for the backcountry wilderness experience, you can get over into the Blue Primitive area and really get away from folks and do some backpacking and see some cool country.
Yeah, the Blue is a pretty amazing spot. If you haven't taken the time to go out to the Blue, it's certainly a stop that you need to make. When we talk about recreation, and I know that your backgrounds are fire, so what are some of the things that you're preparing for in the summer season?
We're preparing for a lot of visitors. We get a lot of visitors every summer. It is our busy time of the year. So we do prepare for that by posting signs just to advise the public of maybe fire dangers or areas that they can or cannot recreate in. We bring on seasonal employees, excuse me, to help with the high activity during the summer.
So is that the amount of visitors that you get to prepare for people? I guess you get people to come in to support the amount of visitors that come through our community.
Yes,
yeah.
Yes, we have to amp up the employees to deal with the activity, the high activity of public.
So if a person is interested in going out camping in a particular camp spot in the forest, can they just go, or do they have to have a permit? How do you find out information about that?
That's a really good question. So obviously your local ranger district is going to have your most local information. So if you're really interested in, you know, the Rim Lakes recreation area over by Woods Canyon Lake, then Black Mesa Ranger District, contact them. Some sites, like we have designated group sites, if you have a large family gathering or a family reunion maybe that you want to host on the mountain every year. We provide group sites that require reservations, but typically for the majority of our camping opportunities, recreating opportunities, you don't need a permit, you don't need a reservation. You can kind of go on a whim and
Great.
go enjoy the outdoors.
That's good to know. I think when people are going out to recreate, certainly we want to think about safety. What are some of the things that you recommend for community members to be conscious of and thinking about?
A big one with the summer coming on and everyone wanting to have campfires and things like that. We'd like for them to bring plenty of water to put their fires out. Tools, shovel, a rake, something like that to put their fires out is a main.
So when an individual is putting their fire out, what does that mean?
A lot of times, the public comes up. It's cold at night. They'll build a fire. It's cold. They think they can go to bed, and the fire will just go out. Or they leave that next morning. It's cold. The fire doesn't go out. They need to put it out, pour water on it, stir it up with a shovel, mix it up, and touch it with their hand and make sure that it's cool to the touch. And if it's cool to the touch, it's probably okay to leave. If it's too hot to touch, it's too hot to leave.
I think those are good tools to remember. I think when we go camping, those are some of the things that we're thinking about, making sure, if we don't have a water source, you don't know if you're going to have a water source. So making sure you take enough water, thinking about your campfire and being conscientious about that as campers, and doing exactly what you said, kind of the mixing of the mud and, touching it to make sure that you're okay to drive off.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really important. So when community members are out there, are there any other things that we should be considering besides fire?
Oh, absolutely. I'm going to focus a little bit more on fire and just add on to what Jerry said. But, as far as preparation, things we do with the county and with our local partners is, for the last few months we've been having, collaboration meetings, kind of getting the right message out. I think something that's really important for the public is the agencies in our, the counties and the fire departments, we've all been working really hard, the other adjoining national forests, to try to get the same message out as far as fire restrictions. Mm-hmm. Last summer was a blessing in disguise. We really went through most of the summer and never went into full fire restrictions, and that's pretty rare in the Southwest. But really know the area you're at and get a hold of the local ranger district. We use social media extensively. We have a Apache Sitgreaves National Forest page. 311's out there provided by the counties that they can call, and just make sure that the area you're in know the restrictions that are there. It's I know it's unique for Jerry and those guys in their job, but ADOT helps us with the electronic signboards. We have our own signing program to really try to get that message out to the public. And we still have folks every year that, by the goodness of their hearts, still don't realize that we're in fire restrictions. And on the mountain it seems real common sense to us, but there's still those folks that have never been camping that decide they're going to try it for the first time, and they don't necessarily know everything to look for. So
that's certainly true. I think in one, being a recreator on the mountain, you want to enjoy it, but you also want to think about, what are those things that are not only going to keep me safe, but are going to keep my community safe, because we've been victim of fire, and we know what that feels like, and we certainly want to continue to protect our forests and our local communities. Living in an urban interface area, kind of puts us in a little bit more danger. Well, we're getting ready to wrap up here, gentlemen. Are there any last comments? Things that we should be paying attention to?
We appreciate you having us out today, and I think that folks need to make a conscious effort to let people know where they're at. Every year we have some toddlers that get, just quickly walk away from camp, and it's always a lot harder to find them than it is to lose them, so to speak. And so, just have a good idea, have a safety plan within your family or within your camp of where you're going to camp. This springtime, winds are real prevalent, We think we're going to get moisture. We don't. We just get the wind. And so be prepared, especially this early part of the season, for kind of all conditions. It snowed last weekend.
Yeah.
There were a lot of campers in the woods that were not ready for that.
Prepared for
you know,
that.
they were wearing their sweatshirts and that's it, and weren't ready for the cold weather. So.
Very true. Well, thank you so much, gentlemen. I appreciate you joining me today. Community, we're grateful to have you today, and hope that you learned a few things. I certainly did, you know, paying attention to the bears and our trash and what we should be doing with that when we're going out to recreate. What are some of those things we should be doing? Being conscientious of fire restrictions. We want to make sure that we're paying attention and having fires when we should be, and not having fires when we shouldn't be. Those are important things, and paying attention to where we're at, looking for those markers. And I know that if you're out on the trails, trackers, our local tracking system. I'm trying to think, our trail maintenance organization.
Tracks.
Tracks. They've done a great job of marking our trails out there. And so when you're out there, pay attention to some of those markers, and that'll help. And I know that our local responders, they're familiar with those things, but and ultimately go out and have a good time. That's certainly what we hope that our community members are doing.
Yes.
And that's the best part of living here on the mountain, is really enjoying the mountain. It's such a beautiful place.
Absolutely.
So, thank you. And we will see you next time.